All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are here to check out the 2020 Lexus ES 350, a car I've been wanting to check out for some time now. And who do we have to thank for this little opportunity? Well, it is actually Johnson Lexus of Durham, North Carolina. This is actually the same place where I bought my LC 500. And it was actually a gentleman by the name of Danny who sold it to me. And he's a kid who's actually younger than me by one year. And Roger, the general manager who owns this place, is actually the one who gave him that deal as his first deal when working here. So that was pretty OG of him. So all the dealership information is going to be down in the description box below, but let's get started with this review, shall we? Now, why am I so keen on driving this car? Because I actually drove the RX 350. I got that from Lexus as a press car for a week. It was one of my most favorite Lexus products ever, and I've driven a few of these brand new Lexus cars, like the new 2020 NX, the LS 500H. I've actually even driven the previous two generations of this car, so the 2010 ES 350 as well as a 2013 ES 350, so that was pretty nice. And another thing, this is probably, before they go turbo 4-cylinder and all that stuff, this might be one of the last V6s you can get. So to celebrate that, I wanted to check out this 2020 ES 350, not the H model. If this video does well, please like it and share it if you can. If it does well, I can come back here and do the hybrid model as well, because I've heard great things about that thing, and it gets about like 40 mpg. But before we get into kind of the driving of this car, let's talk about the looks of this car a little bit. Dude, this car, I absolutely love this refresh. Back in 2019 when it first came out, I loved it. It is such a sleek design. I always get it confused with the LS, the new one. So it is a stunning looking car. Absolutely love it. And that's another thing about this car, especially if you're comparing this to vehicles like, BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class, stuff like that. Like the German stuff, because that's what people seem to like. This has a more substantial look and feel to this thing, a little bit more prestigious looking, if you know what I'm saying, because it's about 196 inches long, so it's more sort of a mid-sized luxury car in a entry-level price category. However, when you drive it and when you sit in this thing, there's nothing entry-level about it. Love the look. I like this white pearl color thing going on. They have some of the best paint jobs I have ever seen, so that's a great thing. So let's talk about some of these driving aspects, shall we? This is such a smooth, buttery smooth driving experience, dude. This is like you're being wafted about so comfortably. It's a very effortless car to drive, very easy car to place on the road. There's nothing here to raise your blood pressure or anything like that. It's just a smooth and serene experience. So let's talk about why it is what it is and why it feels the way it does. So this thing is fitted with that nice, beautiful 3.5 liter V6 engine. That's the main thing that I want to check out here. About 302 horsepower, about 267 pounds-feet of torque. This is pretty much the same engine that they throw in everything, and I love it in everything. Like the RX 350 I drove, wonderful. I love the sound of it. I love how smooth it is. This thing gets about 22 city, 32 on the highway. It's not the hybrid, but hey, that's pretty damn good for a large-ish luxury sedan like this. This thing weighs about 3,600 pounds, which is also not half bad. And this thing is front-wheel drive, and that's where some of the flack comes from with these journalists, if you want to call them that, these car reviewers, right? Oh, it doesn't handle quite as well. Well, I'm about to test out the handling in a bit, but that front-wheel drive, I said this multiple times with things like Acura reviews. I love that because that kind of gives it that versatile kind of feel. You know what I'm saying? You kind of put some snow tires on this thing, handle any types of winter, no problem. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a rear-wheel drive car, you're not going to get that same level of grip. And they will be bringing all-wheel drive models to this as well, which is brilliant. I absolutely love that, but I really don't think it's necessary. This front-wheel drive is more than enough for street driving as well as attacking any type of inclement weather without any issues. And I say this because I had a Acura TSX, no problems attacking that with the snow. So there you go. I had all-season tires. So that's one of the big advantages to me about this and how it kind of differentiates itself from the competition by being front-wheel drive. I absolutely love that. Another thing that they wanted to do, they wanted to lower the center of gravity with this car to give it a better driving feel. So driving feel, something that they still care about with these cars. So they try to improve upon that. That's what I noticed with the 2010 generation of this car. It was a nice, beautiful riding car, of course, however, very wallowy, not the same level of confidence that you would expect. 2013, they kind of fixed that. However, it wasn't as wallowy. It was still comfortable, but it was a little not as refined, I guess, as that 2010 car was. It was a little bit louder, so there was that, but it was still a very comfortable car. This is both comfortable, not wallowy, and very refined feeling. So, but to see more of that as we take it out on the road a little bit more. But these are the practical things I like about this car. You know, strut-based suspension, you know, it is very much based upon that Camry Avalon platform, and that is completely fine because those are great cars. But the drivetrain in this is just better. Now, as we just saw there, a little peeling out sensation there. However, it wasn't too bad. That's primarily because this thing is fitted with 215 wide tires, and it's running on 17-inch wheels. So that's also helping it riding extremely well. But those 17s, they don't look stupid on this car like it's running on hubcaps. I actually thought they were 18s, so that's great. I like this look. That's why I actually chose this particular spec, because this is a nice, you know, 45 grand kind of a mid-level spec, has all the kind of features that you would kind of want with a car like this. So those are all the nice little practical things there. Had a nice gushing sensation of power. I really like that. You know, this thing is actually fitted with the 8-speed transmission. So this 302 horsepower, very effortless out on the road. You know what I'm saying? It did peel out on me a little bit there, but that's primarily because it's running on these eco tires that are 215 wide. So it's not very wide. However, that's going to kind of reduce the road noise coming in, and that's true. There's not a lot of road noise. You know, they are a nice little Michelin, so that's pretty good. Far quieter than the previous generation, the 2013. I do like that car, but this is definitely better, and you would expect that. Very quiet car too. This is about as quiet as the LS, dude, and I kid you not, actually. In a lot of ways, I would even take this over an LS. However, I only drove the H model, the hybrid version, so I would need to try the regular twin turbo version to really kind of give you an accurate assessment on the LS 500, the new one. This is very serene. This is, I kind of knew this would be it. You know, if you're looking at cars like the NX or the UX, please do yourself a favor, jump it up to this ES 350 / RX 350. And this thing will really get away from you too. You have no idea that you're actually going this fast in this thing. Almost reminds me more of the C300. However, it's has a more of a bank volt solid feel to this thing. I really like that. When you drive this thing, when you push it hard, it doesn't quite have the grip to cope, if you know what I'm saying. And that's fine, because nobody's gonna push it the way I'm pushing it here, but it still has a great kind of connected feel to this thing. Very natural feel. I'm loving this 8-speed. It kicks down wonderful. It's so instantaneous to kick down, dude. I love that 8-speed transmission. That is great. Some of their best work. And they do a great job tuning this stuff. And really, the handling is very confident. It's just like there's like a slight lack of grip coming from the tires due to how skinny they are. And that's to be forgiven, of course. But when you just drive this as a cruiser, this is absolutely incredible. And you could push this. You just need to, you know, put some tires of your choice here, or at least put some more aggressive tires like I had on my Acura, like the Continental Extreme Contacts or like an AS3 Plus Michelin. This would be wonderful. But even just the way it is, I love how quiet, how serene this car is. This is an object worth putting on your driveway. I said the same exact thing about the RX. You know, this and the RX, my two most favorite Lexus products. I kid you not. It's so good, dude. Soaking up all the garbage bumps extremely well. And I've driven all the luxury cars, dude. I've driven your Audis, your S-Class. I just drove that, and I drove you know, all the Beamers and stuff like that. I've driven pretty much every Lexus on the planet, and this is great. I absolutely love this. For the price, it's one of the few kind of luxury cars that you can actually buy and keep if you wanted to after the lease is up, after you finish paying it off. You know, you can actually keep this car. It's a beautiful thing about this. Now, if you're in the market for that previous generation car, I would urge you to kind of look into this. This is a finer vehicle to drive, of course. So if you could, you know, lease this at a good discounted price, I would definitely encourage you doing that. But this is great. This is something you can own for 10 plus years and be satisfied owning it. I kid you not. You know, this drivetrain, of course, is pretty much bulletproof. You know, everybody likes to rant and rave about that. There's like that peace of mind that owning cars like this gives you over, like, you know, some of that German stuff. If you're looking for that cruiser car, I would probably have to go with this. For everything, that's a whole package. That nice V6 engine, which, you know, a lot of the other competition can't offer you. You know, they went to a turbo 4-cylinder. This is the last of its breed, and it's actually pretty damn quick. I'm not going to lie. This is more than enough for the street. This is definitely faster than that previous generation as well. And you should be getting great fuel economy with this thing as well. You know, 22 city, 32 on the highway, like I mentioned. But yeah, you can definitely do hella miles with this car. You can definitely pile on the miles and not worry about it. And it's also got the good resale value to do that in. So, you know, summing up my driving experience, yeah, it's truly a great car. I knew it would be, but it's just like I had to try it out for myself, because many of you have been asking me, you know, how does it compare to the previous generation car? How do you like it compared to the German cars? Honestly, you know, just by the way that this car looks, the way it feels, you know, how prestigious it is. I like the way it looks like an LS. For all those reasons, it's another thing I really like about it and why I would actually have to choose it over those cars slightly larger. It's very smooth, very serene. I'm loving that V6. So if you want to take advantage of this V6, you know, this is one of the last chances that you have to do that, essentially. So there you go. Now, any cons to this driving experience? I mean, it's actually a lot like the RX, dude. Like, when I drove that car, I pretty much said the same thing. Practically, you know, I understand I'm at this dealership and, you know, whatever, but I can say whatever I want about this car. And, like, practically, I really can't find anything to fault with this car. I kid you not. I mean, I just, you know, a lot of the spec sheet freaks out there, they're like, oh, but the 0 to 60, I don't even know what this thing does 0 to 60 wise, but when I drove the car, it's fantastic. I love the sensation of power that it gives me, that nice, you know, rush of power, that 302 horsepower. You know, it's almost kind of underrated, actually. I kind of really, I like the power in this thing, and it's actually faster still than the RX because obviously, you know, it weighs a little bit less, you know, lower center of gravity, so it handles better. It's got the skinnier tires on there, so it's a bit quieter as well, so there's that going for it. I guess really the two main things that you people like to complain about, you know, oh, it's front wheel drive. Well, it's great, you know, it's use it year round, you know what I'm saying? When you drive it on the road, it's fine. I don't care if it's side wheel drive, you know what I'm saying? Just like how Jeremy Clarkson said, you know, I don't care if it's side wheel drive. It drives great. That's the point. It only peels out when you have the whole wheel cocked and you try to go crazy with the throttle. That's the only time. Transmission is wonderful, and really the only other thing was there's no real wind noise with it. There's no real tire noise. Love it. So there you go. That's my driving assessment on this car. If you're looking at a UX, an NX, something like that, ask yourself, do you really need that? Are you really getting what you want with that? You know, it's can't even call that an SUV. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely, if you're looking at those two cars, look into either this, and if you have to have an SUV, get the RX. It's that much better, I promise you. These are my two most favorite cars in the lineup, ES and RX. So there you go. Now, let's talk a little bit about this interior, because this is another reason why I would have to take it over the competition. This interior, you know, Lexus does a beautiful job with the interiors. It stands out way more than any of the German stuff, you know what I'm saying? This interior with all the shapes, the different kind of materials and stuff that they use. I said this about the RX as well, you know, have a nice, stylish yet ergonomic interior space, which I really like about this thing. So let's talk about it. This kind of door handle, you know, kind of a LC inspired. A lot of things about this car LC inspired, you know, the adaptive dampers that this thing has, which this car has, and that's it's the same one as they use in the LC. So basically what that means is it doesn't do anything when you switch between the modes. So there's that. I wouldn't worry too much about that, but you know, this door handle, you know, very nice touch. I like that out of the LC, so that's pretty good. You have the three-way memory seats, you know, you have the one touch up and down windows. They are a very thick window, so it's kind of like a double pane glass type of thing. It's very thick, so I like that. Mirror controls, you know, mirrors are a great size. Even the center one here, it's kind of a bezel-less mirror with the garage home link thing. This steering wheel, dude, I love this steering wheel with the little bit of a wood here in the center. You know, very nice. I like gripping onto it. It's the perfect size as well. Looks very nice. It's a stunning looking thing here, and you got some nice little paddles here, which actually isn't a complete waste because I really like this transmission. So there's that. Automatic headlights, automatic windshield wipers, which is all great stuff. You have a ton of physical buttons here in the middle, you know, for all your climate control and stuff like that. It's got its own little like temperature control thing. It's very similar to the LS in that fashion. However, unlike the LS, here's another brilliant thing that they did. They actually gave you physical buttons for your heated, cooled seats as well as your heated steering wheel. So that's fantastic. I love seeing that the LS did not have that. So in some ways, you know, it's actually better. But, you know, unlike the LS, it's not completely shrouded, you know, leathers and all that. But it's like still a nice little soft touch plastic being used here. Oh, just kind of like, you know, very nice looking plastic. It's a nice dull matte texture here, which I really like. So that's pretty good to see. And, you know, a similar fashion to the LS, you know, they have like this volume knob thing that's combined with this, you know, track selection thing. It's a very cool knob. However, unlike the LS, it's more of a plastic knob here. Still very cool to you know use and all that good stuff. So I do appreciate that. But in the LS, it was like this nice metal aluminum thing. So there's that. Let's talk about this infotainment, because you know many people, that's the main gripe that people have with the Lexus interiors. Honestly, I have no issues using this infotainment. I'm not just saying that just to be saying it. I feel like this is not the largest screen that they can give you. I think it's like an 8 point something inch screen, whatever. It's not the full 12.3. Anyway, I like using this. Why? Because I don't screw with the screen when I'm driving. I will say, if you do decide to use this when you're driving, you're going to crash, but that's with any car. So when stationary, I have no problems operating this thing. It has the Apple CarPlays and all that crap. So there's that if you want to take advantage of it, as well as Android Auto, I believe. You got your little USB controls here, and you have like this cup holder thing. You have this other very large cup holder. Let me see, it's this push right here, so let me see what happens there. Okay, very interesting. Another thing pops up. I have no idea what that's for, but whatever. It's a nice big deep thing, so you can put like large water bottles like I have here, so you can do that. You have a nice traditional gear lever knob. Love that. That's great. Always a nice thing to see. And when you put it in park, the electric parking brake automatically comes up. That's the nice practical things I like to see. Now the gauge clusters, it actually looks very cool. It's almost kind of like what they do with the F cars, but not quite the same. So it doesn't move or anything like that, but it doesn't need to. It is an electronic gauge cluster, but this is one of my most favorite ones I've seen. So you put in the sport mode, it'll change and all that good stuff. Still shows you some very good information on the side here. Turn it on and off your little safety functions and all that good stuff. So there's that, you can access all that, as well as your fuel economy numbers and all that good stuff. So there is that. Now let's talk about these seats, because these seats are extremely plush, and like I mentioned, they are heated and cooled, so it's another great thing. And they look very nice little beige color right here with the little two-tone black thing going on. So it's very comfortable, and you can definitely do a ton of miles in this car. It's never going to be fatiguing, so that's great. Nice little wood textures and all that stuff. It's kind of a glossy finish, and I like it. It's nice little classy look to everything. So it's one of my most favorite interiors in this segment. And let's finish up with this little sunroof here, which this has, and let's talk about the rear seat. So I fit back there. I'm 5'11". You know, that's one of the things I keep telling you, you don't really need an SUV. I can slide in and out of here, no issues. You know, the step-in height is very good, so if you're a little bit elderly, it's not really an issue here. So there's nice practical things there, and I do fit. Headroom is not an issue for me back there either. It's got this coupe-like look, but it doesn't compromise anything in the back. Now, the only place that it is compromised is actually the trunk, actually. So that's the only sucky thing about it. The trunk is a great size, but you can't fold down the seats, which is unfortunate because it's not a rear-wheel drive car. It's a front-wheel drive car. Usually that's a big advantage. You can fold down the rear seats, but in this car you can't, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. You do get a pass-through, so there's that. But the trunk is fortunately very large. Now, forgive me, there's a bit of like, you know, grass or whatever back there. They actually just had a golf player come by and stick his whole like golf club set in the trunk, and the good thing about that is it fits a whole set of golf clubs. So there you go. If you're a golfer, this is perfect for you. So yes, the trunk space is very good. It's much like the Acura cars. It's very very spacious back there, so very good, no issues there. So wrapping everything up, how do I feel about it? Well, you kind of already know how I feel. You know, this is that great kind of cruiser car that is actually worth putting on your driveway. This is kind of my entry-level luxury car of choice, but when you drive it, there's really nothing entry-level about it. This is a great car, dude. This actually almost reminds me, the refinement of this car is as good as the 07 to 2012 kind of LS cars. It's really that good, actually. It feels like you're piloting a flagship. I swear to you, it's actually very impressive. I do like it a lot. I would personally take this over an RX simply because it's actually a little bit cheaper. You know, this thing starts at about $39,000. I really like this spec right here, 45 grand. Of course, you know, this is way better than any Camry or an Avalon. If you're looking at an Avalon, please step it up to this. I promise you, you will not be regretting it. The transmission is just beautiful. The interior is just so much nicer. This V6 is just tuned to perfection. I love this. This is one of the best applications of this 3.5 liter V6, this and the RX. So that's the other thing. If you need the SUV, get the RX, but if you can live with the sedan, which I think most people should be able to, this is going to be a great car that you're going to enjoy owning for a very long time, because you can. This is one of the few cars where you can keep it for a little bit. So enjoy it. Hopefully you found value with this review. A little comparison with the Acura. This will annihilate pretty much any Acura, actually, if you're thinking about that. So there you go. I will definitely take this over a TLX. Yes, it costs a little bit more than a TLX. Obviously, there's a new one coming, but I don't know what that's like. But this one, this is great. So all the dealership information for Johnson Lexus in Durham is going to be down in the description box below. You may contact Danny if you're interested in purchasing a Lexus. They also have a 2021 LC500 here, so there's that. So with that, thank you again for watching. Take care, and goodbye.